the northern lights.
Lights.
Baby, you just kick your feet up while I kick back. I roll one with you by my side.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nyemade, and welcome to another episode of Bold Black and Addicted to Bravo, because I am Bold Black and Addicted to Bravo. And I have some fellow Bravo-holics with me today from Boy Meets Bravo. I have Brie and Desmond. Would you two like to introduce yourselves a little bit?
Sure. So we are 2/3 of Boy Meets Bravo. My friend LP and I have been big Bravo heads for a long time. And about a year and a half ago, Desmond started a podcast network, and we roped him into watching Bravo with us every week and talking about it on the pod.
He looks thrilled about it.
I regret it.
He loves it. We're on Boy Meets Bravo on Instagram and Twitter, and we just essentially give him some homework every week, and then we get like an outside view of all the shenanigans every week.
Yeah, which is nice to get sometimes from the people who aren't like deep in it.
Yes, because we get like real blinders, especially for people that we stand for or people that we absolutely hate, and then he'll come around the corner and be like, actually, this is what's happening.
I've had to burst your bubble about a lot of housewives.
He has. You're right.
Yeah.
Some of them are full of shit. Like, oh, can I curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them full of shit, like Garcelle.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You think Garcelle's full of shit?
I hate to burst your bubble.
What a hot take.
Of shit. She's
Well,
not.
you guys are definitely gonna have to be on the reunion episode for that, because I need to know more about that.
Yeah.
But before we get started on today's topic, let's play a couple cards of Black Card Revoked.
Okay.
See how we're doing with our black cards. All right, this is a majority rule, so there's no official answer for this one.
Okay.
Who is the soulful singer that can't dance? Is it Mariah Carey, Maxwell, Rihanna, or Mary J. Blige?
Oh, I mean, Mariah. It has to be Mariah.
Come on, babe.
What?
You know it's Mary J.
No.
Come on. Mary J's been hitting the same dance moves since I was born.
At least she has dance moves.
True. Ooh.
I've never seen Mariah Carey dance at all, but
That's what I think. That's why I said that.
I'm just saying it's got to be better than Mary.
I don't know.
I gotta vote Mariah, because
Hey.
Mary's moves are Mary's moves, like they're her moves, but at least she can dance. Like Mariah, I've never seen her maybe shake it a little bit in choreography, but not really dance.
Just like walks back and forth across stage, and she can just sing. That's fine.
Yeah, she can just sing. That's okay. All right. So today, I'm not sure when this will air, but today is Queen Bee's birthday. So of course we have to ask a Beehive question. According to Queen Bee, what is the best revenge? Slaying, dinner at Red Lobster, a mean wig, your paper.
Your paper. The best revenge is your paper.
Always stay gracious, though. All right. He is the head of Cash Money Brothers. G Money, Nino Brown, Kareem Akbar, Big Chris.
This is all you.
No,
I
want you to answer this one.
I had the Beyonce question. This is up to Allie.
Of course. That's Nino Brown. New Jack City is one of the hood classics that I haven't gotten you to watch yet, but maybe soon.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, classic.
All right. What's one thing guys from the hood are always asking for? A cosign on something, to hold their stuff, to bail them out, to listen to their mixtape.
Guys from the hood are always asking. What was the first one?
To cosign, asking you to cosign something.
That sounds horrible. I'll say the mixtape one.
Definitely mixtape down here.
This mixtape was going to be my answer too. All right, last one. Oh, that one's mean. Okay, this one. A fox, Queen, and Smith cleaned up for a living in this movie. Hoodlum, Independence Day, Set It Off, or Juice.
Repeat that again. Oh, Set It Off.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ooh.
And it was a fox, Queen, and Smith cleaned up for a living in this movie, and it set it off.
Oh,
That caught
Queen
me.
Latifah,
Jada Pinkett
Jada
Smith.
Pinkett Smith.
Vivica Fox.
Yes.
Who was a fox?
Vivica.
Jada or Vivia?
Vivica.
Vivica. That's the word.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So to jump into today's topic, it's called Everyone's a Villain. Because the thing is that most people in most situations don't go into it planning to be a villain, thinking of themselves as a villain. They think of themselves as the hero. Everyone thinks of themselves as a hero in the story, but everyone's a villain to somebody at some point. And so we've had some situations on Bravo that have been really polarizing, where literally one side's like, no, your side is completely wrong, and the other side's your side's completely wrong. So I just want to talk about those, see how you felt the fandom took them, and also see your personal opinions on them. I asked people, and as far as like which topics they thought fell under this, and I got a resounding amount of replies about the fight between Monique and Candace. We're going to save that for last. Okay. Let's ease our way into it with a discussion about Munchausen, which is not really easing our way into it. The light topic of Munchausen's disease. So on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Yolanda had Lyme's disease, which made her very sick. And she wasn't able to film as much, go to things, and it really took her down because it is one of those diseases. Lisa Rinna decided that she thought perhaps she didn't really have Lyme's disease and that she was faking it all, and that she had Munchausen's, which is a disease where you make yourself sick to get sympathy and attention, but you're not actually sick. And so everybody was really torn on whether they thought she really had it or didn't have it, or whether it was okay for Rinna to say that or not. Like, what were your thoughts during that whole situation?
Well, this was pre-Desmond watching any Housewives, so we'll just kind of fill him in on all of that. But I wonder how many seasons was Rinna on the show when Yolanda came on? It wasn't like, she wasn't on there for very long, right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that Lisa's whole thing is just to like stir the pot and talk shit to keep herself having a storyline. It felt like a weird thing to cling on to.
Yeah.
In my opinion, to, you know, if somebody says they're sick, then like, okay, then they're sick. Like, what is the problem? I wonder if Rinna just didn't like that a lot of attention was going to Yolanda because of it. That's a weird thing though, as like a fully grown person, to care so much that somebody else is getting attention. And what an accusation too. You know, like not only is Yolanda sick in some way, but then to turn it around and make it seem like she's lying about it. I guess I didn't understand the end goal.
Right. Yeah, I felt like she was saying that Yolanda was trying to do it for attention. And it's interesting because, like, for me, if someone says they're sick, especially because I deal so much and talk so much within the mental health sphere, and like you can't see that. Like when someone says they have like mental stuff, you just have to sort of take their word for it. I don't remember the exact timing though, because I wasn't really a huge Orange County fan. I just started watching again. But we did see a cancer scare that ended up being fake on Orange County. Brooke told everyone he had cancer and it ended up being a lie. So I'm not trying to remember. Do you know the timing of that? Like, was that before or after that? I want to say, I feel like it was before it, right?
I really don't know.
Either.
You remember Vicky from Ultimate Girls Trip?
Yes.
So her ex-boyfriend said that he had cancer, and then it turned out that he did not have cancer. And that's horrible to laugh at, but he was a shitty person.
He really was. But yeah. I feel like that sort of lends to, if it was before, lends to why people were maybe a little bit more like, well, maybe she could be lying, because it's not like people don't lie, especially to be on TV. I just don't feel like Yolanda had a reason to lie, was my thing. Like, her life was pretty great before. She was fabulous with all her lemon trees, and, you know, living her David Foster best life. So to me, there wasn't really a reason for her to lie about it. So it was weird to me that they decided that she might be lying and then decided to carry on with that.
Yeah. And I think that if she was lying, they would have proven it. Like every time somebody's been lying about some shit on Housewives, like that comes out. So I don't know. And this tends to be, I feel like this is a recurring thing with Rinna. Like she finds something that she's going to really hold on to and drag throughout an entire season. And so like that was her thing. That So it was that. Another season, it was Kim and still being an alcoholic, even though she said she was not an alcoholic. It's always just something. And that was just Rinna's kind of shtick, I think, that season, which is
Yeah,
really
it was.
defamatory, but she doesn't care.
She really doesn't. She I think she thinks of it like a role, like one of her soap roles, and she's there to be the villain at whatever cost. But it's like, these are people's actual lives that you're messing with, because God forbid anyone says anything about any of her daughters and their real life stuff. Like, that's the thing, is she has real life things that she could talk about, but she chooses to talk about everyone else's business and then drag it on for a season.
I mean, that could be deflecting too, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
She's like, well, no, let's highlight this thing on this person.
Yep. So we don't talk about her things that are actually real problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing that upset me too about it is that so many people, you know, I mentioned mental health, but besides mental health, there's a lot of physical diseases and ailments that you can't physically see. My best friend has lupus. That's one that you can't see, but it knocks her out, you know. And it's very like ableist to be like, oh, well, you don't look sick, so you must not be sick, you must be fine. And I think it's horrible that Rinna sort of perpetuated that on camera, but I think it's true to life that there are a lot of people who are like that. Like, if they can't see you being sick, then you must not be sick.
Yeah. I'm team I guess Yolanda in this case. Were there people who were like down for Rinna saying this and kind of like perpetuating this idea?
There are people who believed her, who were like, yeah, we think she's faking it too. Because like Yolanda would go somewhere, or sometimes she would like post a picture of someplace she had been before, and then like maybe she was sick for something else. They're like, see, she's not really sick because she was here. And it's like, well, it's social media. You can post pictures from the past.
Right.
Doesn't mean that that's the thing you're doing right now, you know? So there were a good chunk of people who agreed with her, which was upsetting to see.
That was weird. And that was Yolanda's last season too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would be over it too.
Yeah. I wonder if there's anything that's going to make Rinna leave or make Bravo ask Rinna to leave. I know that there's some chatter right now that she might be on her way out. I don't know. I don't really see Beverly Hills without Kyle or Rinna, to be honest.
I almost want to see Beverly Hills without Kyle and Rinna. And I say that as a huge Kyle fan. I just feel like she's been on the show for so long and she's shown so much of her life that like at this point, the only way for her to stay interesting is to stay messy. And I don't want to see her messy. Like the way she's been this season, because there hasn't really been anything about her this season. It's been more about everyone else and her like pulling strings and her self-producing. And I think that's really the only way she gets involved with the cast at this point. And I'd rather just not have her be on than have her be on like that, or like maybe like stop in and be like a friend of, you know, drop some laughs and then leave. I think would be better.
And then she could officially be executive producer instead
of instead of unofficially. Oh. Yeah, and especially because I think too that Beverly Hills has this way of just like you said, just dragging on one storyline the whole season. I feel like with the other ones, you don't get as bored because there'll be multiple storylines within the season, but it just always feels like Beverly Hills just beats one topic to death until you're sick of it.
And Desmond kind of hops in and out of all of the shows, but I think this could be a polarizing thing, the way you feel about Garcelle.
Yeah, tell us. Actually, I don't want to wait till the reunion. Tell us now.
She's full of shit.
Why?
Fighting words.
I don't like people who don't stand on their principles. And I see that she plays both sides of the fence with all of these women. And at some point, you just have to take a stand for what you believe in and not always try to be the person who comes together and makes everything okay. No, fuck that. I don't like that.
You don't think she takes a stand? I feel like with like Sutton and her stuff, like she's very much like, this is my side, this is my friend.
See, now you're asking me questions. I don't follow it too closely, but every time I see Garcelle, I'm a big Erica Jane fan. I'll tell you that. I like Erica.
It's very true. Loves Erica. He loves Jen Shaw. Like, I guess this is the perfect
you love like the real. We just had I just recorded a whole episode about why those two are problems.
Oh,
should have had you on that.
Bravo needs these women, but yeah, I just don't like the way Garcelle doesn't have Erica's back full time. I thought they were friends. I guess not.
I don't think they were ever really friends. I wouldn't consider them. I think they were friendly, but I mean, especially with the stuff that's been going on this season, I can imagine that they're not going to be friends.
Remember, because Erica, first she like asked to be in a threesome with her older son, and then she told the younger son to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Erica's been on another one this season.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, also, Garcelle's always been close to Sutton, and Sutton and Erica have been beefing for 2 seasons. So it's not surprising that she's not on Team Erica with that one.
I don't like Sutton.
Oh, I like Sutton.
I don't.
She's grown on me. She's good. She's good TV because she's so unaware of how she's problematic. Like the fact that she didn't understand that it was a problem that they're talking about, like someone being burglarized, and she's like, "Oh, my friend's having trouble getting his visa." Like she didn't understand like why that was, like you can't compare the two. Yeah. But it amused me. It made me laugh.
Very deep South in Sutton that comes out.
Yeah.
That we recognize.
But speaking of being kind of clueless, someone who's clueless who drives me insane is Teresa. And something that's
nice.
You what?
I said Teresa Giudice.
Yes. And she is very polarizing. The whole Teresa versus the Gorgas thing, like since the dawn of time, it's been Teresa versus. It's almost like you can't like them both, and you can, but it is hard to do because they're always at each other's throats. It started way back when, with the whole of them getting on the show, because Teresa, the queen of holding grudges, was upset that Melissa and Joe started talking to production about getting on the show before they told her. Even though Melissa's thing is like, we were going to tell you once we knew, but Teresa thinks that it's just horribly offensive and has never let it go and will never, ever let it go. And so they're at each other's throats because she also doesn't get along with Melissa. My main issue with them is that Teresa calls for blind loyalty and has none of it. And that's like my major problem with her. Like you can't call for someone to be loyal and then turn around and call your brother like a bitch boy at the reunion and think that's okay. Like, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that whole?
I'm right there with you. I can't stand it. Well, she has this whole platform of family first. You always got to stick by your family. But then she's out there treating her brother and sister-in-law like shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's so phony to me. Another one full of shit. Lump her in with Garcelle. Even though I do like Teresa. Just of like the weight and power of her name. Before I even knew what Bravo TV and what the Housewives stood for, I knew the name Teresa Giudice.
Mm-hmm.
So I like her because of that. I
mean, you're right. The fact that like the whole show stopped when she went to jail and did not come back until she was out says a lot about like the weight she pulls on the show. I agree with both of you. I think that Teresa, I just wonder where like it really comes from. I wonder what her like real beef is with Melissa. Because since season 1, like the first time we saw Melissa and Joe on the show, Joe, Teresa's ex-husband, got in a fight at Melissa's son's like christening. So they've been beefing forever. You saw that one clip when like the brother and the husband like literally went at each other physically.
Oh yeah, Teresa ran off. Yes. Shit. Melissa hopped in.
Yeah, but I think that I think Teresa, their beef comes from, I think anyone who ended up with Joe was going to have beef with Teresa because Teresa has always been the princess, wants to be the princess, wants to be in charge. And anytime there's anyone who's questioning, like anytime there's someone who has the ability to pull her brother's loyalty, it's going to be a problem. And like I said, she holds major beef. Like we found out at the last reunion that she's still mad at Melissa for not moving her wedding date because Teresa was pregnant. Did you hear about that? Like who is mad at someone?
What happened? Because she asked her to move her wedding date?
Teresa was pregnant when Melissa got married. And so she's still upset at Melissa for not moving the wedding date so she wouldn't be pregnant during the wedding.
Oh,
that's what we're dealing with. Like literally when she said that, I was like, that whole, like the magnitude of your grudge holding, like they're never, like at that point, I'm like, they're never going to resolve this ever. Because if she's still holding on to that, she's never going to let any of this other stuff go ever.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. So she didn't want to go to her wedding pregnant? Like,
yeah.
still show up, girl. Like, it wasn't COVID back then.
I think she went, but
she was in the wedding. Yeah, but she was just
wanted to like be able to like enjoy it or look good in her dress or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're a boss, you can do stuff like that. Like LeBron gets certain calls in the NBA. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I always say be the main character of your life, and Teresa takes that to heart.
Yeah.
She's the main character of her life. So, do you?
She just it's a lot because like, I mean, we only see what we see on TV, but I feel like we see a lot of Joe and Melissa just keep coming back and trying again for the sake of the family, for the sake of Teresa not like losing her shit at every moment. And then Teresa is just, she wants that and she likes that they keep coming back to do that, but she refuses to change anything on her end to make it better also. And like, yeah, now Joe is her only like immediate family left. Both of her parents have died.
She doesn't talk to her cousins. She doesn't talk to them anymore.
Yeah. And so it's just weird. But I mean, I guess it's weird, but at the same time, now that she has Louis, she in her head is like, well, this is my family now, so I don't need them. But they still work on the same show. So like, it's just a lot.
Do you think if they weren't working on the show, their relationship would be better, or they would have no relationship at all?
I think that it would be better. I don't think Teresa loves that Melissa gets to be on TV with her. And I think that has to do with a lot of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's jealous, but I think that like kind of like what you said, I think she's jealous of the attention that she gets from Joe, from her brother, which is weird. But then I think that she just doesn't like that she's got to share the attention with her on screen. I'm glad now though that she is kind of, they're not really faking it anymore. Like when they both went on girls trip, they obviously like, they're just not friends.
Right.
Right. It was just super obvious. And it almost was like a relief for Teresa to just kind of say it. And I was like, okay, thank you. We all knew this, but like,
yeah,
you don't have
I agree. And it's okay. Like, you don't have to be, you just have to be cordial. And the thing that drives me crazy about Teresa and like the Teresa fandom is that they can't like admit when Teresa's wrong, like, which she is frequently. And they're just like, there's always a justification behind what she does, but it's like, wrong is wrong. And for you to expect like the rumors and the lies she makes up about Melissa, like the whole stripping thing, like if it wasn't for the show, I probably would be done. Like if I was in Melissa's thing, I would probably be done with that because she comes after her all the time. But then if they say one thing even slightly wrong, then they're horrible and they're not standing. Like if they don't stand up for Teresa's bad decisions, then they're horrible. Meanwhile, Teresa can do and say whatever she wants about them, and it's okay. And that's what drives me nuts.
Well, I think that, I mean, I don't know if there's any coming back from Joe and Melissa not going to her wedding because of whatever happened at their, like, when they were filming their finale episode or whatever. Because apparently Teresa was pushing a rumor that Melissa had cheated on Joe.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what she does. Anything she can do. And then she'll be like, well, I just heard it. I didn't say, I heard it. And then I just repeated it. It's like, yes, that's what spreading a rumor is. You hear it and then you repeat it out of your mouth. That is spreading a rumor. Because she did the same thing with like the Jackie. Like, I just heard it. It's like, yeah, you heard it. And then you told everybody at Evan's birthday party, you spread the rumor. That's how spreading a rumor works. And she
lost her mind when they were talking about stuff that was out in the news and on, you know, page 6 and whatever about Louis being on like that beach naked with other men, apologizing to his ex who he may have emotionally abused, like, but she doesn't want to hear any of that, even though that's not something that like they've started. It's just out there.
It's out there already. She's the queen of double standards, and it's one of my top pet peeves. So we beef. But when she's just fun, I enjoy her. She's a good time, Teresa.
I actually kind of liked her on Ultimate Girls Trip. I felt like she was like way less maybe on guard, or I don't know. I liked that version of Teresa. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's different when she's on her own show because it is her show. I don't know.
I think it's because it's her show, and then also because like she is more on guard because there's more people like quote unquote against her. She has to deal with Marge, and she has her issues with Melissa, versus I think on Girls Trip, it was like with other girls who she knew had her back. Like, I don't think Teresa's a bad person. And I have so much respect for all the stuff she's been through. And like, you know, the jail, losing both of her parents. Like, I think she's a strong person. And overall, I think she's good. I just think she holds grudges like crazy and has no accountability. And that side of it drives me nuts. But from a distance, I very much, you know, like her. I like her in small, fun doses.
Yeah, it's like, this is lame. You know, in Clueless, when Cher is talking to what's her face, and she's like, it's like this painting, like from far away, it looks great.
Yes.
Close, it's a whole mess.
Yes, I think it was a Monet. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Clueless. That is my movie. Like, I know I'm supposed to be obsessed with Mean Girls, and I do love Mean Girls, but I love Clueless.
Yeah.
My favorite teen girl movie. So then, okay, so to talk about the real polarizing or huge polarizing fight was the one between Monique and Candace in Potomac. So first, to give the back history, these two started off as friends. Like, they were great first season, and then they slowly like drifted apart. I guess there was like some beef with rumors. I don't know. They just kept getting in arguments. And Candace had a habit of getting in Monique's face a little bit and testing her, which I think is important to mention, because then when you get into the fights later, they got physical. So a lot of people, it was very polarizing on whether or not it was justified for it to get physical. And I'm team, you know, violence is never the answer, but I understand. That is my stance on this one. Like, I get why. So I would have been sick of her too. And I felt like Candace was really taunting her because she knows how to do that well.
Okay, I think you go first.
You go first.
I struggle with this. I'm leaning more towards your side, where you say, like, I'm team no violence, but I get it. I'm still having a hard time getting to the I get it part for that. Like, I guess when somebody's continuously kind of poking you, then, you know, I don't know. I just feel like they were both in each other's faces a lot, not just that day, but other days. I don't know. I just think I didn't feel like it was enough for Monique to react the way she did and literally like slam Candace's head on the table in that wine bar.
So what happened? What caused this fight?
It's like, it's hard to even say. Like, they were just like taunting each other. I forgot what the actual fight was about, because we've all been fighting about if the fight was justified or not. Right. I forgot what the actual fight was about. I just know that they were at the restaurant that day, and
did Shorty throw lettuce at her?
That was
no, that was a different fight. I do have to admit, though, that I remember that season, Candace had been trying to be good up until I think that point, like, because Candace had walked away from a couple of their fights. And I remember thinking, like, Monique is like extra angry because she wasn't letting it go. Like, whatever their fight was, Monique was angrier. I do note, though, that she was postpartum, which I don't think people talk about enough. The fact that during all of that, she had just had the baby, and those postpartum hormones will get you. And so I think there needs to be a little bit of grace for that. But she was just mad at Candace, and Candace did try to walk away a couple of times. But that night, Candace was like, let's do this. And she instigated it. And then what did she do? She threw a glass at her, or she threw a drink at her first and then grabbed her? It was chaos.
Who threw what? I feel like when I remember looking back and thinking about that fight, I really feel like Monique like put hands on her first.
Yeah.
And then I guess when Monique grabbed her, Candace, I think, threw the glass or
okay, yeah.
At her. It was like a split second thing, but Monique definitely like grabbed her by the head.
Yeah, Monique went for her first because she was like, okay. Yeah. But, you know, Candace taunted her way there, and that's what's going to happen. Like, don't tell people they can put their hands on you if you don't mean it, because they will put their hands on you.
True. I wonder if I would feel different if Monique was sorry. Like, I wonder if
She was sorry later.
She wasn't sorry enough later. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
Even like, you can even pretend to be sorry later.
Sorry for
for fighting.
For the fight. Because she flat out was like, I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Why should you be? If two people have a problem with each other and the aggression leads to a physical altercation, there's nothing to be sorry for after the fight's over. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what you should have said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know if I've been watching too much Bad Girls Club and Bad Boys Club, but that's where I'm at too. Like, because they just all square up the minute they're angry at each other. And so for me, like, that's how it was in Monique's mind. It was, and they also grew up very differently. Like, for as much money as Monique has now and as poised as she tries to be, she's very honest about her background and where she grew up and the habitat she grew up. It's habitat, the environment she grew up around, where it probably would have been, she probably would have put her hands on her a long time ago if she hadn't grown to the person she's grown to. But you antagonize her enough and she's going to take it back to her roots, versus Candace, who has always grown up in, you know, privilege and the softer society. Like, that's why she was so shook by that fight, because I think there are those of us who grew up not around physical fights, who see people run their mouth all the time. And it doesn't really even occur to me if anyone would put their hands on me for, oh, you know what, I can give you an example. I was working and I was young in like my early 20s, and I had this coworker who like would drive me insane. And so, you know, you vent to your other coworkers. And I remember I would just say things like, oh, I want to kick her ass or blah, blah, blah. Like, just the things you say. But then later I found out she really wanted to fight me because she thought I was trying to fight. And I was like, wait, no, I didn't actually mean I was going to touch you. But like, when you grow up where people just say things like that, but don't actually mean it, then you just say things like that. But you learn quickly when you encounter someone who grew up and who is about that life, that you can't just say things like that because they'll act on it. And I think that's what we saw was Candace being used to being able to just talk and run her mouth and not being around people who would put her hands on her. But then she met a Monique and got schooled on that.
Yep. And I keep flip-flopping because now I'm not on the other side, but thinking about how Candace acted the following season when you said she threw the lettuce at Mia. Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mia would have stumped her. Tall
right.
ass Mia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, would have put her
Yeah.
in her face.
Mm-hmm.
She's lucky.
Yeah. So now I don't know. Now, like, how did you not learn before that would happen when you pop off like that? I don't know.
She just runs her mouth, and it's sad because Candace is funny. Like, I love her in confessionals. She cracks me up. But yeah, she just doesn't, I don't think she has that limit. And I actually respected Monique saying she wasn't sorry, because I hate a fake apology. I hate and I'm sorry when you're not really sorry. I hate and I forgive you when you don't really forgive the person, because you see it, then they just bring it up and bring it up. It's like, it's okay to say that you're not sorry yet. And it's okay to say that I don't forgive you yet. You can say, thank you for your apology, I'm not ready to receive it. I would much rather see that than to see them say like, oh, I forgive you, and then bring it up every 5 minutes and keep arguing about it. Like, clearly you're not over it. So just say you're not over it.
Yes, that's like a Teresa and the Gorgas, just the cycle.
The cycle. What I did find interesting though about the fan side of dealing with this was how many people jumped to the, oh, that's such a horrible representation of Black women and blah, 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 you're setting us back. Now that's a major pet peeve of mine. Like, no one's a horrible representation of all Black people because we're not a monolith, and white people never have to deal with that. No one says like, oh, you fought, you're a horrible representation of all white people everywhere. And it's like, if we don't want them to treat us like a monolith, we can't treat ourselves like one. Like, we can't go around saying that to each other and then be mad when they say it to us.
Yeah. And it's not the fact that Bravo keeps creating these franchises where it's like, these are the Black franchises. That's part of like a problem for like the viewers too, because then, especially because there's so many white people who watch Bravo. I mean, let's be real, like as far as housewives go, if they're only seeing like, oh, well, in Atlanta, they act like this, and in Potomac, they act like this, versus in Beverly Hills, they act like this. So, you know, when you see just that group of people, you know, the viewers are creating their own stereotypes and creating that narrative in their head too. So that's hard to live up to as far as those casts who are like the all Black cast. I mean, we don't even have, I guess Beverly Hills is the most diverse cast we have, and it's got
At
one
the
Black
moment.
woman and one
Yeah.
Asian American woman. Like,
I guess Dubai now is the most diverse, maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, it's hard because like even Potomac, when they first came on the board, it took a while for people to warm up to them because people are so used to stereotype Black women and like the attitude and the sass, and they didn't really bring that as much as Atlanta did. So it took people to warm up to them. But I think it's okay that they're different. I don't, maybe also because I love ratchet television. I don't mind when people are stereotypical because stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, and usually because they're part true. But I also can acknowledge that there are lots of people who are outside of that stereotype. And it's important, and I think Bravo owes it to people to show the multiple sides of it. And I think that that's almost what they tried to do with Potomac versus Atlanta. So I get why, as a cast member, some of them were upset that Monique took it that way. Like, I don't think it would have been viewed as harshly if it had happened on Atlanta versus on Potomac, but I still don't think like she carries the weight of judgment of all Black women on her shoulders. And I think that anyone who would look at that fight and be like, see, that's how Black women are, like that person was already thinking along those lines.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what they're going to end up doing with New York now. As far as that goes, having a mix of people. And I'm not a fan of the Roni like OG or what's the legacy idea that they're doing. It's like, it's really weird to me. But I'm interested to see how they try and like revamp Roni so that it looks like New York City.
Yeah, I mean, the legacy is like, I don't really think that I'm interested enough to really watch it. Like, I don't necessarily care about anyone that much. And I'm interested to see what they do with the new cast, because I heard a rumor that they're trying to go younger and trying to go people who have more of a social media following. And to me, those are the two worst things you can do for housewives. Like the worst things you can do. Hey, I want my housewives like 40 and up. Like, it's okay to have like one in their 30s, like, because there's the young end in the group, but like for the most part, they should be older housewives, women. And then B, getting people with large social media following. The reason why that's a problem is that most of us who are in the social media sphere are aware of what we're putting out there, aware of how the audience is reacting to it. You're going to get a bunch of people who are self-producing themselves on the show.
It won't be authentic
at all. They'll be looking for like how it can help with their business and how it can help with their followers. Like, I want a bunch of like just housewives. I want a bunch of unaware people like Sutton, like older, lots of money in New York, diverse though. And I want to see them on Housewives. I think that would be interesting to watch. But
or
I guess
crazy like Sonia.
Yeah, like Sonia, just unaware of themselves. That's what you need. You need more Sonias, you need more Suttons, but apparently we're getting a bunch of like 30-year-olds and
all right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, I guess. I'll give it an episode and see.
If they could bring like I mean, I know it's Real Housewives, but something that Jersey does that I'm like obsessed with is like all the men over there are like their own like segment, like their own like what's it called?
Like their own almost. Yeah, I love the guys. I actually would love to see like a husband's ultimate road trip. Like I want to see some of the Jersey guys with like PK and Mauricio. And like I think it would just be a good fun time.
Yes, I would be here for this. I would send it.
You send it.
Hang out with Frank, Big Frank.
How do you think, last question though, so like, we talked about how sort of everyone's a villain, and nobody is, the hero all the time or the villain all the time. I feel like in the social media world though, like people are having a harder time realizing that. Like, I feel like people are very much like picking a side and digging in. Like they're losing their ability to be like, well, I agree with this, but I understand where that person's coming from. Like that nuance is being like lost and smaller to me. And I think it makes it harder to watch the shows, and it makes it harder to follow it on social media because it becomes really toxic because people just don't want to even pretend like they can understand the other person's viewpoint. Is that what you're seeing and feeling too? Yeah.
I fall into that category, but
Okay.
I do it ironically because I do think it's funny. But certain women, like we spoke about Erica and my love for Jen Shaw, they can do no wrong in my eyes. But deep down, it might be a
But
little.
it's like they can do no wrong because they're all wrong.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's funny, but I do like these women. But that's what I see on my timelines. Every day I get on Twitter, it's somebody attacking a different housewife, and it's never the same one. So I'm like, who do y'all really like?
Nobody.
It's weird out there.
I will say though, that Desmond actually does a good job of pinpointing the nuances and things for me. Because like with the Jen Shaw stuff in particular, I mean, it's outrageous, but like I remember one time he was like, I mean, she's like a person, like a human person going through all of this stuff. And all of these people online are like losing their shit. And this was before the guilty plea, right?
Okay.
And so, but it's true, like, because if all we see are people on TV, it's easy to deduce them to a character on TV, but like they are like real people living their whole lives, and like, yes, it gets a little bit fuzzy because their job is to be on TV or whatever, but it's a nice reminder.
See, it's funny because I feel like people give Jen more grace than they should because they've detached her to being on TV. Like, because she's this fun character to watch on TV, like you forget, like, there are actual lives that she fucked up real bad with her criminal charges. And like so many people just give her like this, oh, well, she's just so fabulous to watch. She's so amazing. It's like, oh, she's kind of a bad person who did bad things.
Look, people get scammed every single day. I'm sure by the time we get done this podcast, my phone will ring and it's going to be from Nigeria. So like stuff happens. I don't want people, just because she's on TV, I don't want them to place all the hatred and ill will they have towards all criminals towards Jen just because she's a housewife.
Of course. Yeah.
Like keep that same smoke for the people who call your phone every day.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they should keep that same smoke. And it's also part of why I don't understand why like Erica gets all the smoke, but then Jen doesn't, when it's like Erica was married to someone who maybe did the crime and Jen Shaw did the crime. And it's like, how are you guys? But people, they love who they love and they love it for the reasons that they love them. And it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to be in like the thick of it and also to pull away from it and just watch. And a lot of stuff this year I've had to just like pull away, like purposely not look at comments because people wild out, especially like also when trailers drop. People blow my mind with like the whole plots and storylines and explanations that they will create off of like a 30-second trailer. And it's like, you saw 2 seconds of it and now you're acting like you know everything that goes on. Or like the other day I was reading one and I backed out of those comments because they were driving me nuts, but it was on Summer House. Carl and Lindsay got engaged. And whoever like leaked the footage, you can hear someone in the back saying like, oh, it's so fake. So in the comment section, people are going off about how it was Paige saying that and how like she hates them and how she must be so upset about their engagement. And then someone's like, no, it's not Paige. Like she's on the other side with the cast, like you can see her. And someone's literally like, I hear you saying that, but in my mind, it's definitely still Paige. And I'm like, what?
But you know,
like, but people are like that. People will have hard facts in front of them and be like, I'm going to choose not to believe that. And that just blows my mind.
It's like I'm going to create the TV show that's in front of me. I'm also going to create it in my head so that in real life, it is what I want it to be.
Yeah.
You have to remember that these are two different things.
Yeah. And I wish it would only be on TV. I wouldn't have a problem if it was only on TV, but they do that in real life too. They're like, I will only listen to these facts that support my narrative, whether they're actual facts or not.
Yep.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. But I am still enjoying Housewives for the most part, some more than others, because I do enjoy like some of the, like I love Atlanta because they keep me laughing. And I love Married to Medicine because they keep me laughing. Like they'll fight, but their fights are funny. Like theirs are truly where I sit there and I'm like, I can see both sides of the fights. And it actually makes it enjoyable to me because you're both wrong and you're both right. And it's amusing. I like that type of viewing.
Yes, those are our hometown girls.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this. I enjoy anytime we get to chat. Desmond, do you have any words about the villains of the show before we sign off? Any deep takes?
I like the villains. I do. Like the people Bravo, what do you call it? Bravo heads?
Sure.
People who love Bravo. The ones that y'all like throw away, like the redheaded stepchild, those are the ones I love. So I like them.
I respect them sometimes for what they bring to the show. Like Married to Medicine, like Heavenly, I couldn't stand her at first. Now I love her. She's a mess. I don't think I would want to mess with her in real life, but I love her for television. She's great television.
I don't watch a lot of Married to Medicine.
You need to get on it. It's like the best show on Bravo because it's like a mix of housewives, but they're all so funny. And I don't know how to describe it, but it's good TV. It's enjoyable. I definitely.
Nope, not until Tiffany Moon joins. So
that's true.
Actually, I'm hoping they do a Married to Medicine Dallas with Tiffany. That'd be perfect. Yes. Well, where can everybody find you?
We are on Instagram and Twitter at Boy Meets Bravo. You can also go to our website at boymeetsbravo.com. Recent episodes are uploaded there. Just general info. And you can also find us at BravoCon in October.
Oh, you're going? Nice.
In New York that weekend.
Oh, I can't wait to see the footage. I will not be there, but I am ready to follow and see what you guys get up to.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everybody who watched. If you missed previous episodes, you can check them out on YouTube, Spotify, or Anchor. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Baby, you just kick your feet up while I kick back. I roll one with you by my side.